The Leake Mound Interpretive Trail is sponsored by the Federal Highway Administration, the Georgia Department of Transportation, and the University of West Georgia. Hi, and welcome to another Leake Mounds Interpretive Trail podcast. If you're following along on the trail, this podcast corresponds to the Gateway Community and Hopewell Interaction Sphere panels. I'm Jennifer Teeter.
And I'm Marcus Toft.
So Marcus, that's a nice shirt you're wearing today. How'd you get it?
Oh, thanks, Jennifer. I don't remember where I got it. I've had it for a while.
No, not where did you get it? How did you get it?
Well, I guess I bought it.
You exchanged something in order to receive it?
Yes. Oh, I see where you're going with this, because this is the trading podcast. So yes, Jennifer, I traded money for this shirt.
Very good. So where did it come from?
I got it at, wait a second, I'm on your tricks. Hold on a second. Well, according to the tag, it was made in China, so I guess it started out pretty far from where it ended up.
Exactly. Now imagine if you had to go to China to get your shirt.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jennifer, because we have technology that makes that kind of long-distance trade easier.
Yeah, but now imagine that we were in the Woodland Period. American Indians didn't have that technology to do long-distance trade.
But archaeologists do know that American Indians were trading.
Yeah, and specifically during the Middle Woodland Period, they were trading within something called the Hopewell Interaction Sphere, where they exchanged ideas and goods.
And the Hopewell Interaction Sphere was a trading network that connected American Indians and the eastern part of what is now the United States, from as far south as Florida to as far north as Canada.
Yeah, and within the Hopewell Interaction Sphere, the Leake Site really served an important role.
Yeah, that of the gateway community.
And to define gateway community, we refer to Hirth, who says, gateway communities developed either as a response to increased trade or to the settling of sparsely populated frontier area. They generally are located along natural corridors of communication and at the critical passages between areas of high mineral, agricultural, or craft productivity, dense population, high demand or supply for scarce resources, and at the interface of different technologies or levels of socio-political complexity.
And he also says that the function of these settlements is to satisfy demand for commodities through trade, and the location of these communities reduces transportation costs involved in their movement. Which, after reading all this, Jennifer, sounds a lot like the Leake Site.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that was a long definition. I think we should maybe break it down and explain how the Leake Site fit into that.
Okay, for example, in Hirth's definition, he says that gateway communities are located in areas that are rich with minerals, and we know from the archaeologists and from geologists that the Leake Site did have access to lots of minerals.
Exactly, and they were also located on a floodplain, which made the area rich for agriculture.
Right, and Hirth also says that there was high craft productivity, and one of the things that the archaeologists found at the Leake Site that to me is really interesting is they didn't find a lot of whole artifacts. They found like bits and pieces, and they think that that's because objects were being made at the Leake Site and the completed artifacts were being basically shipped away.
He also mentioned socio-political complexity, which archaeologists think that the Leake Site was a main area that people came and gathered at.
Right, they think that it connected the South with the Midwest. So as people were traveling south from the Midwest, they may have stopped at the Leake Site and continued. In the same way for people traveling north, they may have stopped at the Leake Site and then continued to the Midwest.
And that also sounds like a natural corridor of communication.
Yeah, exactly, which is another term that Hirth uses. Basically,
from Hirth's definition, we can infer that the Leake Site was an area that was efficient for trade and travel during the Woodland Period.
Yeah, I think that the definition that we looked at from Hirth and what we know about the Leake Site seems to match up pretty well.
Yeah, and I think the Leake Site became the important gateway community that it was during the Middle Woodland Period. Because during the Woodland Period, people became much better at exploiting their environment. They really knew how to gather the resources that were available to them in their communities and began trading, which really helped the Hopewell Interaction Sphere grow.
Yeah, basically you had different things coming from different places.
Like the coastal societies took a lot from the water. Atlantic coastal American Indians would have traded mica, wampum bead, shells, and chert, which is a flint-like rock.
And in the Gulf Coast region, they may have traded alligator teeth, shells, shark teeth, that kind of thing.
And the people in the interior of the country took from their surroundings, which included a lot of elements. Like the upper Mississippi Valley traded copper and lead.
And then around the Rocky Mountains, American Indians were trading obsidian and bear teeth.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to point out that they weren't always just trading raw materials. Sometimes they traded processed goods, like which might have come from the Leake Site.
Right.
So, Marcus, in the Time Periods podcast, I remember us talking about how the late Woodland Period was sort of a decline after the Middle Woodland Period. Did the Hopewell interaction sphere decline as well?
I think it did. From what I've read, archaeologists don't seem to find much evidence for the kind of long-distance trade and interaction that was happening during the Middle Woodland. So it seems to have really only existed during the Middle Woodland period. And Jennifer, something that we haven't really even talked about yet is why American Indians during the Middle Woodland period were undertaking these long-distance journeys anyways.
Well, it's hard to say without written records, but archaeologists think that they could have been traveling to visit friends and family or attend festivals or ceremonies. But individuals may have been traveling to make a name for themselves. It could have been prestigious to bring something back from far away.
And you mentioned that ceremonies may have been one reason why American Indians were traveling. And at the Leake Site, when they were excavating one of the mounds, they found artifacts that make them believe that visitors to the Leake Site were helping the locals build the mound.
If you'd like to know more about trade and exchange during the Woodland period, check out The Swift Creek Gift, Vessel Exchange on the Atlantic Coast, by Neil J. Wallace.
And you can also check out Recreating Hopewell, edited by Douglas Charles and Jane Boekstra.
Thanks for listening.
Hope all is well.
The Leake Mounds Interpretive Trail project was done in partnership with the City of Cartersville and Bartow County. Music by Tommy Wildcat.